Okay. Raid started. Just threw a bunch of
Hello.
people your way.
Hello everyone.
Hey
Hello, everybody.
everyone.
Welcome. Welcome.
Let's make sure you guys can hear Dark Spots okay. You can hear me. Hear is it BryNu? Hopefully I'm saying it right.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Cool. Is this the game with the T-Rex? Yes, this is one of the game. One of three with the T-Rex in it, right? Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We're not gonna see a lot of the T-Rex, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there is a T-Rex somewhere.
That is the beauty of the speed run. You go fast, so you can't, you don't take as much time to stare at things, but that's what makes it cool, is that you're going really fast. Also, dark spots, I like your little mouse and keyboard overlay at the bottom, so we're gonna see how you're clicking and typing really
Yeah.
fast as you go. That's cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that we're not gonna see bug jumps. I mean, we're still gonna showcase them at the end, but bug jumps require a lot of inputs in a row, so it would have been really nice to see them during an actual run, but it's gonna be nothing like that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, let's get started. So, just to say a quick introduction to everyone. Hey guys, right now, who's speaking? My name is Neha. I'm a community and social media manager at Crystal Dynamics on the Tomb Raider team. And I am joined by a whole crew of really awesome speedrunners today that obviously passionately play this game every day. And
Oh yes.
their hobby is to chase a new time, whether it be by a few seconds or a few minutes every time they play. And so Dark Spots, I'm guessing Anniversary is either your go-to game or one of your go-to games that you chase. But why don't you quickly introduce yourself to the stream and maybe tell us a little bit about your speedrun history with the game.
Yeah, so I'm Darkspots and I mainly run two Tomb Raider games, so Tomb Raider Anniversary and Tomb Raider Legend. And yeah, as you mentioned before, Tomb Raider Anniversary is my go-to game. But regarding my speedrun history, it's pretty interesting actually. I started running this game um, 10 years ago or 9 years ago, I think, when I was a little kid. I used to watch YouTube videos and stuff like that, and that's how I got into it. But then I had a pretty big hiatus. I guess I kind of I don't know, grew out of it, and I also moved over to console gaming. But since I started attending university a couple of years ago, then I got myself a PC, and yeah, ever since then I've been back and speedrunning.
Oh, that's really cool. And BryNu, I know you're going to be streaming with us at some point too, but
Yes,
so
indeed.
I'll let you I'll let you delve into your history more when you're actually streaming. But we're happy to have you too. So why don't we start jumping into the game? But while we do that, I'm gonna just drop a link into the chat. Obviously, the bigger reason that all of us are here today is we are doing a marathon for Extra Life. So if anyone in chat is not familiar with Extra Life, it happens every year, and while people do raise donations throughout the year, there is an annual game day event. So today is the annual game day event. Where people are basically raising money across mostly North America, but people take part all over the world, and we're raising money basically for children's hospitals across the country. And so Crystal Dynamics is raising money for children's hospitals that are actually near the Crystal Dynamics office, and so that's why we're here. So if you want to donate, BryNu just posted a link in the chat, and that is where you can donate. Otherwise, why don't we jump into the game, Dark Spots?
Yep. So I'm gonna load a save file. That's how we start the game, basically.
Yeah, that's how we usually start because there's like 2 cutscenes before that save, so we just jump directly into the save instead of skipping those cutscenes. That's how the run starts usually. Now the game is gonna be broken pretty quickly. You'll see. Unfortunately, I mean not unfortunately, this is a glitch speedrun, which means we're gonna use most of the glitches and bugs that the game had before release, and we're gonna use all of that to try and finish the game as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So dark spots whenever you want, really.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna start 3, 2, 1, and go.
Let's go. The first thing you're gonna see is air walking. For anyone who hasn't seen this game before, you can literally walk on thin air. Basically, if you have any kind of ledge in the game and you manage to get a grabbing animation onto that ledge, if you manage to pull out your guns right before touching that ledge, you'll be able to enter a state of airwalking. Now, unfortunately, just airwalking doesn't let you gain height or lose height. That's why, as you saw, we're using the level geometry and the level design to gain height and sometimes lose height, and that way it's gonna make us we're gonna be able to go around a lot of stuff. That's what this is really what this run is all about. There's going to be a lot of airwalking, then going out of bounds, so we can go around the entire world. Basically, we're not doing anything that's intended. Uh, as you saw, we didn't even do the first part, which was to climb all the way up to press a button that opens a door. What we did instead is we just went all the way around, then went back in bounds, touching the door to load the next area. Now here's another glitch called left rolling that Darkspots just did. For some reason, when you have your guns pulled out and you do a left roll close to certain areas, it just zips you up there. And we're gonna, I think this is the only time we use it in this run actually, left rolling. Correct me if I'm wrong, Darkspots, but I
Yeah,
think that's
you're
like the
correct.
only left roll we do in this run.
Yeah.
But it's pretty useful in this situation. Now, next is going to be a puzzle. We're supposed to do a puzzle to open a door. Uh, Now, we're not going to do the puzzle because there is a way to get out of bounds from there, actually. Just gonna gain a bit of height by climbing all the way up there, and there's a little bit of a gap without collisions. If you gain a bit of height there, you can get out of bounds and go through the corridor. Now,
Oh.
it's fine, he's going to do it again. But the important part, one of the most important part, I think, is what's coming up right now. Vilcabamba Warp, it's called. Uh, there is this checkpoint that's supposed to be later into the game in Vilcabamba, and that checkpoint, for some reason, extends underneath the map. And if you let go of Flora at a specific spot, you can trigger that checkpoint. And if you quit the game and resume, it will just teleport you to Vilcabamba, like this. Now, a little bit of a trick in Vilcabamba, you can try it yourself. You can stand on that keyhole and jump over the gate, which skips completely everything.
Yeah.
Now, there's not a lot to this, really, except we're gonna skip this as well. Again, most of the time we're just gonna get an airwalk, gain the right amount of height, and manage to get out of bounds through this because this doesn't have collision.
Yeah. This is
Obviously, I don't think the
relatively.
developers expected people to, gain that much amount of height, so they just didn't put collisions here for optimizations. But we use that to get out of bounds and save a lot of time. Now we're getting back inbounds. We unfortunately we cannot just stay out of bounds and go through all of the levels and do absolutely everything, go to the end of the game staying out of bounds, um, because otherwise we'll reach a point where there's no more collisions and we can't progress anymore. So we actually have to go back in bounds a lot of times and next load the next areas by touching the loading triggers. Now the T-Rex, we talked about it. We're gonna completely skip it because you can actually go through the waterfall without even getting rid of it. And then again, loading the next area like this, we'll be able to go to Qualopec directly. Sorry for the T-Rex lovers. It's not gonna be anything like this.
You were not kidding.
I'm pretty sure this is one of the favorite sections of a lot of people, but there's not going to be any T-Rex. There's also not going to be a lot of puzzles for Qualopec. Uh, there's like there's like these multiple doors that are supposed to open. There's also this trigger. Normally you would trigger a boulder if you were to like go the intended way, but because we go around and we jump over that trigger, the boulder doesn't trigger, and we can just continue like it's nothing. Then after doing that, just escaping Qualopec, nothing really special. We're gonna enter the first QT of the game that we cannot skip, so we'll have to deal with it. Actually, I think that's a bit different compared to Legend, because Tomb Raider Legend does have QTs as well. For Tomb Raider Legend, you can spam those QT inputs. For Anniversary, you can't. If you try to spam them before they appear on screen, you'll die. So you actually have to time them. You have to wait for the QT inputs to be on screen and then press them. But that's the end of Peru, which should have taken around 5 minutes something. Yeah.
Nice, nicely done. So basically, from what I'm seeing in the Tomb Raider speedrun community, because obviously there are runners who do glitched runs and then unglitched. So there are those who try to go as fast as possible while playing as intended, and those who try to find as many ways as to break the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The a glitchless run is around 2 hours, and you'll see like how long this glitch run is going to be at the end. It's a pretty big difference between those two. You'll see. I don't want to spoil anything, I guess, but I'm gonna have to explain this next skip. It's a bit hard actually. There's a mix
Oh
of
my
everything.
goodness.
It's one of the hardest tricks to do. It's called Foley skip. We skip the entirety of Foley, where we're supposed to get 4 keys and put them into keyholes at the bottom of this room. There's a spot in this vertical room where we can go out of bounds by doing a handstand. We're not going to see a lot of handstands, but if you do a handstand at this precise spot, the left side of Lara goes out of bounds, and we do a full damage cancel, which is going to miss, unfortunately. So, yeah, from this height, unfortunately, you die, but there's this thing called fall damage cancels. Basically, right before you touch the ground, if you manage to switch weapons, then grapple, you'll be able to not take too much damage. You'll basically take damage from the point where you switch weapons and grapple, rather than the point where you started jumping. So that's another miss, but it's fine. Third time's the charm.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's a bit tricky. It's a lot of stuff in quick succession. So if you go at the right spot and do a handstand, you can do a gun jump to the left,
Oh.
get out of bounds, and miss the full
forgot.
damage cancel.
No, I forgot
Forgot?
to equip the weapon.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
that's the
used
thing,
to
yeah.
not used to doing this
It's
over and
fourth
over
time's
again.
the charm. We believe in you, Dark.
Yeah, that is the right
Yeah.
expression. Fourth time the charm, maybe this time. So again, nice little handstand.
Oh my god.
Okay, fifth time the charm.
Uh,
No pressure, dark spots.
I think if I'm not gonna get it, then I'm just gonna load a save. But
Oh, surely you can get it. Come on.
I mean, I have to.
I believe.
I believe.
Everybody believes, definitely. But yeah, here's the fall damage cancel part. So as you can see, Dark Spots did take a lot of damage. He would have taken way more if he didn't do the fall damage cancel, and that's the reason why we do. It's this way that we skip. St. Francis Folly. Then we move on to Colosseum, yes.
Yeah.
That's a bit of swimming section. There's not a lot happening during this.
Yeah, this is one of the more of the quiet parts of the game.
Yeah, we have to go through this swimming sections. There's no way to skip them, really. Are you gonna go for the cutscene skip?
I mean, I'm gonna try.
Alright, so we're in the state of an airwalk right now. And when you're in network stage like this. Part of Lara can sometimes go through the ground, and there's a cutscene trigger right there. But if you time your back handspring correctly, yes, just like this, Lara goes under the ground, and she basically goes under the cutscene trigger.
Yeah. What
And
we
just like that, we skip the cutscene
yeah,
basically,
what we
which
think
saves just a bit of time.
yeah, what we think is happening is like Lara's head is the trigger, but since it like goes underground, then it kind of like doesn't trigger the cut doesn't hit the cutscene trigger.
Yeah, basically the cutscene trigger is on the ground, but because Lara's head goes underground just before hitting the cutscene trigger, it just goes under and skips it. Here's another full damage cancel to skip all those staircases. It's not a big skip. I don't think it saves that much time, but it's quite nice.
Maybe like 10 seconds.
It's not something you'd see like new runners do. Midas, by the way. This Midas section where you're supposed to get a bunch of lead bars and supposed to turn them into gold, you know, the Midas myth. Instead, what we do is we go around and jump directly in the water. The water extends very far, as you can see, all around, and we can load the next area by just touching it and staying out of bounds. Now we're also gonna load the next area like this by slowly getting back in bounds, kind of, but also staying out of bounds. There's a lot happening. uh, and yeah, the entirety of Tomb of Tirken, we're just gonna skip as well because we can be out of bounds and grab an arrow and just go around basically.
You
Yeah.
certainly get a much different view of levels
Yes.
when you're doing glitch.
Don't
You
see
can
a
see
lot.
everything.
BryNu might you wanna tell them what happens with the centaurs? How they glitch out?
Yeah, the centaurs are kind of weird sometimes. The centaurs can sometimes glitch out, and for this reason, we'll have to see what we have to do. But I think we should be able to fight them. We'll have to see though. There's this part of the wall in the temple that we can just go through like this by back and springing. So we skip the entirety of this level again. Another fatigue this time by fighting Care. And we're gonna enter centaurs. And the way centaurs work, if you've played the game before, we're supposed to take a shield off of them and use those shields to basically word in English.
Petrify?
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna petrify them using the shields, basically.
Oh,
Yep.
cool.
So right now the centaurs are playing nice, thankfully. But sometimes like they just, when you spawn in, they like fall like from the sky or like get glitched in a wall or something like that.
They're trying to give you some time back
Yeah.
before they're being bros.
Yeah, so this has been a quite
Very
good
good, actually,
centaur
yeah.
fight, yeah.
Yeah.
Are there certain parts of your run where you know you can either gain time back or lose? Like if you're starting a run and you like, you know, you've lost some time or whatever when you have to do loads and stuff like that, are there places later in the game where you look where you can potentially gain some time back?
At the point where we are right now, I think the game is so optimized that it's kind of hard to save time
Okay.
nowadays. So if you lose just a bit of time, it gets very hard to save time later into the game, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Not you.
And like, yeah, centaurs are probably the most RNG heavy.
Yeah, centaurs is a big RNG part. So sometimes centaurs just won't behave, so you have to kind of pray that they behave, so you can get a good time with the centaurs fight. Now Egypt has a big skip, as you can see. We did the same kind of thing we did in 40. where we grab the ledge as much to the left as possible, and the left side of Lara goes out of bounds, and that way you can grab an airwalk and just go all around, skipping all the entirety of Egypt.
Yeah,
Egypt, that's supposed to be one of the longest level, is now the shortest level, I'm pretty sure,
yeah,
when it comes to speedrunning.
we skip like, yeah, like
We even skip
90%
this
of,
puzzle like this.
yeah, like 90% of Commune, entirety of Obelisk, and like 90% of Sanctuary probably.
Yeah. Oh, that was a weird angle, but nice.
Yep.
There is really this run is really a lot of airwalking, gaining, losing height, and just going around by going out of bounds. It's a, it's not that hard of a speed run, I would say, to learn. Maybe some of the strats are a bit harder, but it's just a lot of going around out of bounds, basically.
Yeah, there's little to none RNG, which is good. Like, you know, the centaurs are
So maybe I should have explained this, but we went through this door because the top part of the door, the Sphinx door, doesn't have collision, so you can literally grab an airwalk out of the door and go through it, basically. It's not even a clip technically because there's no collision, but you can go through the top part of the door. Now we're gonna lose a bit of height. It's one of those instances where we need to lose a bit of height because we need to keep the airwalk and go under this this doorway. We also need to keep the airwalk because in the next room there's gonna be some centaurs and mummies, and well, we're gonna completely skip them. We're also gonna skip all the climbing stuff. Instead, what we do is we're at the perfect height to go where we need to place the scions, which are needed to open that next gate. As you can see, this is the perfect height to place those scions. And then to get to the other side, you just grab an airwalk. Just pull out your guns before touching the ledge, go to the other side, put the second scion in, which opens the door, and you're done with Egypt.
oh,
Very quick level as we're like 16 minutes in.
yeah, and final QT, and that's Egypt.
Yes, final QT of Egypt. Now during this QTE, actually during the cutscene before the QTE, Nakla, the main antagonist, is taking out guns. And if you listen carefully, the airwalks can only be triggered with guns in this game. So we're not going to be able to get airwalks for a short amount of time entering Lost Island, but we'll manage to get our guns back a certain way. Quite an interesting way, actually. You'll see. But yeah, for now we don't have guns, so we'll have to do some of this the glitchless way, basically.
Yep. And yeah, so this is the basically final level or final area. I think it's the longest, right? But there's some very interesting things that we do and use here. So yeah, Brian will be explaining them.
There's a little bit of a shortcut with this rope. You can actually go to that ledge to the right if you do it correctly and fast enough. You keep the momentum and make it to that ledge immediately. You can even grab it with an even faster animation, but that's good enough. And then the pistols. So there's a bunch of fuses that we're supposed to get to break the ceiling of that room to get the pistols. What we do instead is we use our grapple that extends our pickup range, and you can literally grab the pistols through the wall. So because we have the pistols now, we can just grab an airwalk and go around again and do all the stuff we did before.
Yeah, and another positive thing, we don't kill Larson.
Yeah.
So Larson's still alive
Is
and
that a good
kicking.
thing? I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know.
I love Larson. Just kidding. Love you, Larson. Now, we're getting the magnums on the way because the magnums are very powerful, and we're gonna use them for the final boss, which is Natla. So we're just gonna keep them for now. Not gonna use them. Well, we are going to use them for the final boss. They are very OP indeed. Now, again, what we would be supposed to do is encounter two enemies, and there's a big QT sequence that's like more than 1 minute. This is the biggest QT in the game, but again, you can just grab an airwalk and go all the way around.
Yep.
It's much easier. Now, I guess there's a bit of a downside to it. After the QT, you could get Uzis from the skateboarding guy. We're not gonna get them, but it's fine because the magnums are OP anyway, and that's what we're gonna use for the final fight. Now we're entering the Great Pyramid, which has one section which is pretty reset heavy, I would say. A lot of runs die here, unfortunately, because this next room, we're gonna break it so bad that the checkpoints that you're gonna see on screen are not actual checkpoints. They're fake checkpoints. So if we die during any of this shaft section, the run would basically be dead in an actual run, but it's gonna teleport us to a previous checkpoint that's way before like where we are right now. It's important to know that usually when you shoot those targets, gargoyles would be able to spawn, but because we're shooting at the second target in the room, the game gets confused, so it doesn't spawn the gargoyles, so we don't have to deal with them. Normally those gargoyles spawn and they would be able to snipe you down. It would be very bad, but because we're shooting at the second target in the room instead of the first one, it just skips the gargoyles entirely. Now we have to be kind of creative because this room just goes all the way straight up, so we can't just gain height by hugging the walls. We have to use the cocoons, kind of, I guess that's what they're called, and also the slopes to gain a bit of height, and that way we can get all the way on top of this vertical room, and with a very precise jump making it on the platform, and that's the end of the pyramid shaft. Now the checkpoints are still fake until this one, I believe.
Yeah, this one.
Right now, this one is
the
real.
first real one, yeah.
So we basically made it. Now that the run can't die anymore.
Because it's already
Now,
dead.
how am I going to explain this? The way loading areas work in this game, they're separated into 3 areas. There's the part that's loaded and visible with collisions. The second part that's next to it as is not visible but still has collision, and then the third part has no collision, no textures, nothing. And because of that, we can deload the area, backtrack, and just go all the way around again. It's kind of hard to explain, but I hope I explained it well. We do the same for torso skip. We don't fight torso, I'm very sorry. What we do instead is we deload the area, and we have to do this blindly. It's kind of hard, but we have a sequence for it. We did lose a bit of height on the right side, and we can literally go through that platform we were standing in, and after we go through that platform, we're out of bounds. We can just go around.
Yeah, it might, or it may look hard, but once you get the hang of it, it's not really.
It's just a sequence, basically.
Yeah. Exactly.
You lose a certain amount of height, and then you're able to literally go through the platform, because the inside of the platform doesn't have collision. You can just go through it. Now we still have to go back in bounds, of course, to load the next areas. We're going back out of bounds. And we're gonna load the next area by touching the loading trigger. We do a lot of that, just a lot of out of bounds. Touching the loading trigger to load the next area, and then we're able to move on. Another loading trigger right there to load the next area, and we're already at the end of the game. This is the final fight, Natla. Now, a lot of runs die on Natla's fight as well. We're gonna switch to manual because this is the best way to switch targets with mouse and keyboard. That way we're going to be able to target Natla's wings instead of her upper body. Because we need to destroy her wings first so that we can fight her on ground instead of having her flying. Last boss needs to switch targets, kind of. So we can target wings. Once the wings are destroyed, we'll switch to the second phase. And the second phase, we're gonna use the magnums that we did pick up a bit earlier. And those magnums are very OP. See, we're gonna switch to magnums right now. They do a lot of damage, and we're gonna basically kill Natla in 2 cycles. We're gonna trigger her again. We're gonna dodge her, and with a few more bullets of magnums, the fight is done, and we enter the final QTE. Now the timer is not done. You still have to do the final QTE, and as I said, you have to time your QTE inputs. So it happened before, where runners would press the QTE too early, basically killing their runs at the very end. Hopefully it's not going to be the case this time.
Yeah, it's like if you mess up the final QD input, it's like a minute time loss.
Yes, because this QT is also very long. There's a big dialogue from Nakla. And there's the final QT input. After that final QT input, just a cutscene to skip, and the timer will end by itself, or at least should. And that's the game done in around 25 minutes, really. Compared to Glitchless, as I said before, which can be finished in around 2 hours. This one is finished in 25 minutes. There's just so much skipping. And that is time.
Yep.
That is a
Nice
25
job.
minutes, 16 seconds, any percent glitched.
Yep. And yeah. I think I was also supposed to show some bug jumps.
Yes, sure, let's do that. So I'm gonna have to explain this first, but the any percent category is split into 2 categories. There's no bug jump and bug jump. Now the difference is bug jump is basically the real any percent. It allows you to do absolutely everything, including what Darkspots is about to do. If you can show them real quick. This is called Bounce. This is very broken. This lets you gain a lot of height, but it requires a lot of input presses in a row. As you can see, the keyboard overlay in the bottom right. Basically, if you switch weapons, then grapple twice. You also have to jump. Jump, switch weapons, grapple twice, and you do that over and over and over again. You're able to do those chains of bug jumps. Now, if you miss them, you fall to your death, unfortunately. So
Yep.
this is a pretty hard trick, and it's pretty hard to get used to. You have to train for months sometimes to get used to it. And for this reason, another category was created called No Bug Jump, which is what Darkspots demonstrated for this entire run, which is basically everything allowed except this glitch. And that's it. That's basically the game.
Yep. So if anyone's maybe interested in doing some speedruns for this game, or it doesn't matter, even any Tomb Raider game, your favorite one or whatever, if you go on to speedrun.com and select any Tomb Raider game, you can find a link to our Discord server.
Yes, we do have a Discord for the speedrunning community of Tomb Raider, and if you're ever thinking about speedrunning this game, if you ever thought about it, you have to give it a try. It's obviously not for everybody, but you're either like it or not like it. So if you ever thought about it, you can join the community. The bunch of awesome people who will help you with a bunch of stuff. Speedrunning is a very wholesome community. Don't hesitate to join.
Awesome.
Yes. So I guess that's it for my run.